Welcome, dear friends, to Cardiac Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls with the Spirit of Truth. The Spirit of Truth is the book that Chico, Xavier, and Waldo Vieira, two mediums, brought forth messages from a group of superior spirits that work together with the Christ of the earth. Emmanuel and André Luiz, Eurípides Barçanufo, Bezerra de Menezes, Anália Franco, Hilário Silva, and many others, May, and many others. And they come to us messages that develop the content brought by Kardec. Today, Emmanuel, the coordinator of the whole project, unveils another piece of the truth. And the truth is essential for a better life. We make mistakes because we're blinded. Sometimes we're blinded by our ego, selfishness, and pride, which is really blinding. That's why we need one another, because true friends, they help each other. They help. And we shall be true friends, helping the growth of one another. Today, Emmanuel is inspired by a particular passage that is published in the Gospel According to Spiritism by Kardec, which is chapter 18, item 10. Chapter 18 is many are called, but few are chosen. And he quotes, he's inspired in the passage by Luke 12, 47, 48. The servant who knew his master's will, but who nevertheless neither prepared himself nor did what was expected of him, will be harshly punished. But he who did not know his master's will, but who did things worthy of punishment, will be punished less. Much will be asked of him who received much, and a greater accounting will be required from those to whom many things are entrusted. You and I, if we think about, you want to do the whiteboard? Yes, we will do it right away, so we'd never forget. First and foremost, we are going to draw here. We're going to draw. And Virginia is coming along. Okay, let's think of planet Earth, right, Virginia?
Yeah, let's draw planet Earth.
Okay, 1 second, okay? I need my hand right here. 1 second. Okay, hold on, Virginia.
This
Yeah, okay. Let's blue planet. Oops.
one. Upstairs.
Okay, blue planet. This is planet Earth. All right. Yeah. Now, inside of our planet Earth, incarnated, not inside meaning inside of the planet, but on the planet, we have 7 billion incarnates. Incarnates. Of these 7 billion, how many
are spiritists?
How many are spiritists? A few
hundred
millions. Few millions, because in Brazil there are millions already. But of these few millions, how many speaks English?
Less than 100, okay?
Less than, let's say.
Less than 1,000.
A few, less than 1,000. Let's put this. What does that mean? As we just read in Jesus saying, when Jesus said that if we know something and we don't work on it, we are going to feel guilty. So you and I know. You and I know what we know in Spiritism. And the question is, and we're going to do this, are we multiplying it? Are we really helping
That's
spread.
the question.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, that's the question.
Are we transforming ourselves? Questions? Yes, friend. These are important questions for all of us. Okay? All right? Let's meditate on these questions as we go back and we share with you a passage that Emmanuel quotes from the Bible in John 1:38. I have here the verses right in front of me. You remember John the Baptist? People thought that John the Baptist might have been, at the time, they thought, oh, I think he's the Messiah that says in the scriptures. And he said, no, I'm not. So when you read the first verses of chapter 1 of the book of John in the New Testament, we're going to see that John the evangelist, John the Baptist said, no, I am not. Mm-mm-mm. But then the next day after baptizing, John was there again, says the verse 35, with two of his disciples. When John saw Jesus passing by, he said, John the Baptist, look, the Lamb of God. The Lamb of God means the one sent by God. Lamb so meek. Jesus has no sign of violence. That's why the Lamb. When the two disciples, and by the way, parenthesis here, we're not interpreting the Lamb just by this, one of the characteristics. When the two disciples heard John the Baptist say that, they followed Jesus. And then, turning around, Jesus saw the two disciples of John the Baptist following him, and he asked, what do you want? What do you seek? And they said, Rabbi, which means teacher, where are you staying? Come, he replied, you'll see. So they went and they saw where he was staying, and they spent that day with Jesus. It was about 4 in the afternoon. And Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, was one of the two who heard what John had said and who had followed Jesus. The first thing Andrew did was to find his brother Simon and tell him, we have found the Messiah. You can read more, but right now, Jesus is asking
Share
us.
them the link.
I will. So let's think together. Jesus returned and said, what do you seek? You think he didn't know? Of course he knew. Of course, Jesus knew everything. But why is he asking? So this is the title, as you can see here. What do you seek?
What do you see?
What do you seek? Emmanuel, in a quite surprising way, is going to ask us, and this is the truth, friends, because remember, Jesus comes as the way, the truth, and the life. The truth. What do you seek? You see, he's not like, oh, hello, come here. He's waking us up like he knew what they were seeking, but he's asking us to be aware. What do you seek? Do you know? So think. Today we're here, and Jesus is asking you and I, what do you seek, Vanessa? What do you seek, Virginia?
You.
You seek mommy?
And God.
And God, and Jesus, right? All right. All right. Then, the simple question, says Emmanuel, from the Lord to the two disciples who followed him is presently addressed to all the workers of Spiritism before the good news reborn in the world. Okay. So the simple question is asking us, all of us, And then Emmanuel goes case by case. So if you're watching this and you say, I'm not a spiritist worker, I'm not a spiritist practitioner, Vanessa. Well, listen to the questions. Then maybe the day you become, you already know the reflection. You are all being invited. I'm being invited. So here comes the question. To the modest worker of fraternal assistance, the superior voice is expressed by claiming the fruits of the harvest of the good. So for all of us who are there to listen to people when they come along, Jesus asks us, what are you doing? What have you been sowing? Because people may come to us and say, oh, I came to the center because I'm a medium. We listen and we give a hand. Give a hand is not bringing the person straight to the mediumnistic meeting. No, especially during the pandemic. But we are going to ask the person to study, to join the other efforts of the center. Somebody comes and says, oh, I'm sick and I need help. We pray with the person. It can be over the phone, it can be through Zoom. It doesn't need to be in person because we know the times are not appropriate. But are we sowing? What are we sowing? Joy, hope, and courage. These are the things that we need to sow. To those who collaborate in disseminating Spiritism, the question, what do you seek, represents the incessant question about the task of safeguarding the purity of the principles that comfort and instruct. How many people I know, even at Cardiac Radio, they come to me and say, I want to say something that it's going to be universal. Okay. And you think Spiritism is not universal? Okay, so let's go to the Gospel according to Spiritism. In the Gospel according to Spiritism, in the introduction, we have a particular section that is titled Universality of the Spiritist Teachings. Exactly. And there we're going to find Kardec talking about the fact that none of the Spiritist ideas, so forgive me because I'm just opening here, it's item 2, the authority of the Spiritist doctrine, universal test of the Spiritist teachings. The Spiritist teachings are so universal. It says here, he says, the spirits themselves are the ones who do the disseminating with the help of innumerable mediums, who they are arousing everywhere. If there were but one interpreter, no matter how favored he or she might be, Spiritism would barely be known. Such an interpreter, whatever social class he or she belonged to, would have been the object of prejudice of the part of many. Not every nation would have accepted him or her, whereas the spirits, communicating everywhere to all peoples, to all sects, to all parties, have been accepted by all. Spiritism has no nationality. And he goes on and on. This universality in the Spirit's teaching is what comprises Spiritism power, Spiritism's power. So when we share the Spiritist teaching, number one, what do we seek? Because many people are seeking ego. Well, how do I know? Because they say, I want to say things that people are going to like. Wrong. Wrong. We don't do this program to entertain anybody or to please anybody. No. In the preface of the book Good News by Humberto de Campos to Chico Xavier, he says, I no longer write to please, I write to console. Spiritism is the promised consoler. We don't do these programs at Cardiac Radio. We don't publish articles in the Spiritist magazine. We don't. We don't disseminate spiritism to please people. So that's why we don't care about the numbers, the ratings. It doesn't matter. Mentor Joseph says, Vanessa, if you stop to look at the numbers, how many likes, statistics, it's a sign that you are not working to the fullest. Because it's not on us to count, it's on us to sow. But Vanessa, what if we're doing something that people don't like? Well, this is not about people liking or not. We won't go wrong teaching the Spiritist teachings. Ah, but Vanessa, isn't that a better format? Well, we can change formats, but the essence is the same. He's saying we're here to keep it pure. We can do cross-cultural adaptations, yes, but the essence is the same. It has no nationality. I don't think to date we still understand what it means because I see many people around the world thinking that certain nationalities hold power over spiritism. No, no nation. It was born in France, moved elsewhere. In Brazil, it grew strong, but it's spreading throughout the world. What's going to happen next? Only God knows. There's no ego. It doesn't matter the nationality. It doesn't matter anything. What matters is the message you say. What do you seek? To promote yourself or to promote the truth? When we promote the truth, we're not concerned about pleasing people. We're not concerned about number statistics. We do what we gotta do. We share. We sow. Like the story of a book that was psychographed by Divaldo Franco many years ago, named The Sower for children. And it's a beautiful book because it shows a teacher that would travel to her school by train, and the students would come along. And every day they saw that this teacher had a bag full of something that they didn't know, and she used to throw those things outside of the window of the train. Nobody asked her anything. Some people even thought she was a little crazy. Till one day, decades later, a student finally came along and asked, Teacher, what are you doing? And she says, See those flowers out there? I sow. When I'm here on the train, I sow. I'm in the train and I am sowing, throwing seeds. But you see, she doesn't stop to say, let me see how many. Oh, I'm going to stop throwing seeds because they're not growing. She's sowing. She's just throwing them, sowing, and later, as Paul of Tarsus says, I sow. Apollo waters it, and God makes it grow. It's not on us to say when it's going to happen. And it's going to happen because it's the truth. So if you are collaborating with the dissemination, let us help keep it pure. Then, to the guide of the assemblies of our faith, the question is judicious as to the quality of the effort of the fulfillment of duties of your responsibility. So we're talking about the people who coordinate study groups, who coordinate spiritist centers, spiritist meetings. Are we fulfilling our duties? And why is that important? Because sometimes the duty, we think, I remember, forgive me for stopping to say another story, but it's a true story of a spiritist center that I knew in the United States. where one of its directors would come in 5 minutes before the meeting began, put his stuff on the table. It was a table. People would be seated on the chairs. He would put his stuff on there. He would open the meeting, do the explanation, close the meeting, and then 5 minutes after finishing the meeting, he would go. He would barely say hi or talk to anyone. He would come and go just like that. Wow, imagine Jesus coming, saying hi and bye, doing the discourse, the speech, and saying bye and leave. Is that the responsibility? Where's the human part of us? We come, the 101 master. 101. Two disciples came. He turns. It's so symbolic and powerful. The body language. He turns. So Jesus looks at us. What does he mean to turn his back? To turn around and see them. It means that he considers us even though we're behind him. And he asks, like a Socratic master, right? Of course, he taught Socrates the method. Ask the question to empower the person. What do you seek? The best thing is to ask, what do you seek? So, what do we seek when we're coordinating things? Self appreciation? Wrong. We're not there. I know coordinators who are there to please the people. They barely know how to say no or put order. But Jesus taught us to be good administrators. We inspire in him to do so. Then, to the servant of children's spiritist education, Jesus' question comes from the Divine Master as a call of alert regarding the course chosen for the sowing of light. The course meaning the direction. Some people think, yeah, I love children. I want to help. Okay. But in a serious spiritist center, we prepare people to do it. Of course, we're not going to be PhDs in that. You don't need a teacher's degree to do that. But we need preparation. No teacher goes to the classroom to teach whatever comes out of their mind. In the Spiritist Side of Virginia, at Kardec Radio, we have lesson plans that are carefully brought by the inspiration of the mentors of the center. And then a group of educators very diligently go through the plan, the lesson plan, design it. There's a revision, and then we apply. It's a lot of work. The question that Jesus is asking us, what do we seek when we are applying those lessons? Are they really going to boost in those children the divine in them? Because some parents think that the children education activities are just like, you know, like daycare. Let them they stay there so I can watch the talk. No, it's not daycare. There's discipline, there's commitment, and as Mentor Joseph is saying right now, the Spiritist education in a Spiritist center or at Kardec Radio, anywhere, is more important than the school they go to. So here's a message to all parents. If you send your child to school every day, the least you can do is to encourage your children to be engaged in the Spiritist education for them. Now, during the pandemic, it's all online. At Cardiac Radio, we have the lessons there. You have the playlist, Cardiac Radio for Kids, carefully designed. It's up to us. If we don't make sure that our children are at least weekly and religiously connected, we're failing as parents and as educators. He then asks about the famous mediumship. To the person who has mediumistic responsibility, Jesus asks for the application of the talents entrusted to them. Many people say, I'm a medium, I used to be a medium. Okay, right now, we can't simply be a medium and enter a mediumistic meeting. That doesn't happen this way. Why? Number one, we need knowledge. Oh, Vanessa, but I did courses in Brazil or elsewhere. Okay, but we also need what Kardec calls in the Spiritist medium, the medium's book, fluidic affinity. We need as well harmony amongst the members of the group. So it takes time. The medium that is impatient and comes and says, I already know. Remember a case that happened in the Spiritist side of Virginia? A person came from Brazil, and usually they come from Brazil thinking that they know it all. But a center here is as organized or more than in Brazil. There are rules, regulations. And the guy came to me and said, oh, I'm a medium and I do this and then the other. Say, okay. So we talked several hours and we made an agreement. We said, we'll give you 3 months to come to meetings religiously. And then step 2 will come. Once a week, not to the mediumistic meeting, just a public meeting, study sessions. And the person started coming. On the third time, the person is sleeping during the meeting. And then as we were coordinating, we asked, are you tired or what is happening? Because mediums sometimes they fall asleep and they are in trance. He said, no, I'm just sleepy. Okay. At the end, we talked to the person and we said, if during this meeting where the lights are on, we are not able to focus in a mediumistic meeting, it's not going to happen. The person was oversensitive, never came back. What can I do? What can we do? You see, natural selection. How can we bring somebody to a meeting with no discipline and with no humility? Too oversensitive. We already studied here in the Spirit of Truth book a whole message about how oversensitivity destroys good works. So how are we going to allow anyone to enter a mediumistic meeting? We can't. If the person is too oversensitive, we need to do the steps to see if the person passes the tests. I remember Jorge Godinho Neri, the current president of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation. In 1997, he moved to the United States for a diplomatic mission with Brazil and the United States. We met him in 98, and then we together created the group, the Spiritist out of Baltimore. And it began in our house. He used to come with his wife, sometimes children and even grandchildren, religiously. And I remember him saying and telling us that in another Spiritist center nearby in Maryland, he had a hard time. He had a hard time because he came from Brazil, fully experienced, but that center didn't give him any activity. For 1 year, he sat down at the audience without feeling hurt, very humble. He sat down, he was calm and quiet, and he was already a speaker in Brazil. He was already coordinator of meetings in Brazil. That is a role model for us, humility. few people would pass that test. Few. Today, he's the president of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation at a very critical time in Brazil and the world. As mediums, we need to multiply the talents. How? He's saying, what do you seek? Are you multiplying the talents? At home. Being the medium of the good. Kardec asked, what is a good medium? And the answer is the one that is an easy instrument in the hands of the good spirits. At home, at work, in the streets, everywhere, not only mediumistic meetings. If I see somebody whom I do not approve, and I need to be there, and I don't help out, I'm very sensitive and I'm guarded, I'm not being a good medium. If at home, I don't practice the constant forgiveness and the constant compassion and the constant renewal, I'm not a good medium either. Then I go to mediumistic meeting. What do I seek? The phenomena, the ego. No, we can't. To the beginners of Christian Spiritism, says Emmanuel, Jesus' question constitutes an adequate investigation as to the sincerity that they bring with themselves, alerting to the righteous duties. Because many people come very enthusiastically, like, oh, what are the true intentions? Many people, they are not doing well in their profession, and they seek somewhat to find a way to be less frustrated with themselves and making a spiritist career. It doesn't exist, right? But some people, they believe there is. They even make spiritist CVs, which is unbelievable. I've seen them with my own eyes. And to date, I don't believe it. It's terrible, isn't it? It is terrible. I've seen people who are president of spiritist federations in some countries that go to international meetings and they bring their business card and their CV to distribute to people. Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia. That's the wrong thing. We don't find self-realization there. It's within ourselves. To each individual, says Emmanuel, that awakens in the highest levels of reason faith, the Lord's question sounds like an invitation to the works in which real charity is affirmed. And when he says real charity, what does he mean? He means, let's go to the definition of charity according to Spiritism. Charity is, charity equal to benevolence towards everyone, indulgence towards people's imperfections, and forgiveness of offenses. This is exactly what the definition is in Spiritism. So he's saying that Jesus is asking all of us to work towards that end. Is that what we seek? So listen deeply, says Emmanuel. In each move of your own activities, the austere word of the divine conductor, you see, he says that Jesus was not kidding. He was being firm. He's serious. He is asking, calling us to the coherence between the ideal and the effort, between the promise and the fulfillment. There are many people who are in the Spiritist works because they don't have a family. And they say, oh, this is my family. But if they had a family, would they be there? There are many who are in the Spiritist works not seeking the true ideal. They are asking for other things. They are there because they want to make friends, and then they are disappointed. Because in Spiritism, we make friends, but that's not the reason why Spiritism is here. Have you ever read in any of the Spiritist books saying that a Spiritist center is a group of friends? No, never. Jesus says win friends, but he's not saying that the good news comes so we're friends. It's a natural consequence of the ideal of what? Loving God, loving one another as we love ourselves. So some people will be disappointed and they are not coherent because they come to the center and they expect, I wish I were that person's friend. But that's the reason why you're there. That shouldn't be the reason why we're there. I can't expect that people who are in the center are going to be my friends. We can be friends in the good, but not friends like coming home and helping with the dishes. We can, but that's not the reason why we're here. He says, calling us to the coherence between the ideal and the effort, between the promise and the fulfillment. So he asks, analyze what you do, observe what you say, meditate around your most hidden aspirations. What answer do you provide to the Lord's inquiry? So he says, we will repeat, analyze what you do, observe what you say, meditate around your most hidden aspirations. How many of us are here like, oh, I want to be famous. I want to be somebody. And then we go through the Spiritist works thinking, I'm going to be somebody there. Wrong. We are somebody. We are children of God. What answer do you provide to the Lord's inquiry? Whoever follows the Christ leaves his apostolate. Serve, cooperate, move forward without fear or hesitation, remembering that the word of the truth focus on us each day, incessantly asking, what do you seek? So here we have, and we're going to share, we have to. Everybody has the opportunity of seeing exactly what Emmanuel is telling us. He's saying, analyze what you do, observe what you say. Meditate around your most hidden aspirations. And he's saying, what answer do you provide to the Lord's inquiry? What do you seek? Of course, this will be our very exercise of the next 24 hours. You and I are going to be asking ourselves, what do I seek? Or we are going to visualize Jesus turning and asking, Vanessa, what do you seek? If possible, let's do it writing down as if we were writing a composition, okay? An essay, or simply a letter saying, Dear Jesus, When you asked what I seek, this is what came to me, blah, blah, blah. But don't think about showing it to anybody. Keep it to yourself because we need to ask our most hidden aspirations. Because we have conditionings of the past that come back. So we need to work on it as best we can. Today, we're going to feel ever more empowered by the question that Emmanuel brought to us from Jesus. What do you seek? What do I seek? To show off? What do I seek? To be somebody? What do I seek? Friends? None of those answers fit in. So, what do I seek? And he says, the question, as austere as it is from Jesus, comes to ask for recalibration, coherence between the ideal and the effort, between the promise and the fulfillment. It's big. Remember when we first drew the earth in those 7 billion incarnates? You and I are few of those who know of this. And knowing of this, we need to take measure. We need to align ourselves because Jesus is counting on you and I specifically to do this work so more can come. Sharing the good, like the teacher throwing the seeds through the window, hoping that they are going to grow. And they grow because Paul of Tarsus said, I sow, Apollo waters, but God makes it grow. It's not up to us to see how it's growing, but to know that if we sow, it will grow because God never fails. Friends, what do you seek? Thank you so much for being together in this beautiful study with Emmanuel. Through Chico Xavier, so much gratitude. Let us think about what we're seeking as we're coming along to this harvest of the Lord. Thank you, friends.